こんにちは、です。今回ですね、ちょっと面白いなと思っているトピックがありまして、それがですね、この I will ね、この形についてなんですよね。皆さん多分使うと思うんですよね。英語やってると I will。大体の場合はこれ短縮形にしますよね。なので I'll っていう風になると思うんですよね。例えば I'll do that とか I'll order this とか I'll ask him とか、こんな感じですよね。I'll っていう風にね、言うと思うんですけれども、この I'll ってちょっと皆さん薄々思ってたかもしれないと思うんですけれども、ちょっと言いにくくないですか ?I'll って。で、私も若干なんかこれ言いにくいなって思ってたんですよね。I'll ね。I'll do this.I'll do that ね。これちょっと言いにくいなと思ってて。で、実際ネイティブの英語を聞いてみると、なんか本当にこれ I'll って言ってるっていう風にちょっと疑問に思い出したんですよ。で、なんか自分的には I'll っていう風に言ってるように聞こえて、真ん中のがないんじゃないかなっていうふうに思っちゃったんですね。で、そこで今回はオンライン英会話のCamblyを使ってネイティブの先生に実際にこの I'll っていうのをしっかりと普段発音してるのかっていうことについてちょっと聞いてみましたので、その様子ありますので、ぜひご覧ください。どうぞ。
Today I've got a couple of questions if that's
Sure.
okay, as always. So the first question is around the pronunciation of I will.The contracted form of it. So
Okay.
I'll. Mm-hmm. And like you said just now, I think you said I'll instead of I'll. I didn't really hear the middle I. So, if you look it up in the dictionaries, I think most of the time they would say that, it's I'll. So basically it's made up of three phonemes, like I, right? Three of them. But I think a lot of native speakers actually omit the middle vowel and say almost like I'll do it, I'll do it. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. I think if you're trying to speak like very clear English, I think it's probably because I'm a teacher. I'm always trying to say like I'll do this, but yeah, to be honest, I don't really say like that. I think in like my native accents, like my dialect would be more like I'll, yeah, something like that. I'll do this later. I'll do it. Maybe it, it depends which region you're from, but yeah, I'm pretty sure most of us will have our own sound. But yeah, definitely we omit it.
So do you think it's okay to replace all my I'll pronunciation with L?
Yeah. See, I think like the way you're talking now, you're speaking very fluently and there's a flow to your sentence. So this dropping this sound, well, that's the reason why we drop the sound. It's to make everything flow and make it easier. But I think, if you're trying to, if you're still learning and you're still speaking like very slowly, I think trying to create this sound when there's not enough flow in your sentence, it might sound really unnatural. Yeah, I think the reason why we omit it is because we want to speak faster and
right.
But yeah, I think it has to come last, right? You have to be up to speed already before you're able to do that.
So it's gonna sound a little bit awkward and strange if I said, I'll probably do this. Or I'll probably
no, but even when you say that, it still sounds like a very natural pause in a sentence,
is it?
Right? Like the pause in your sentence, it doesn't sound like it's because of your English. It just sounds like you can't remember what to say, right? So in that case, it still sounds really natural. But yeah, I think if you're a learner and you're still stuttering and trying to remember words, I think it's there are more important things to worry about than how to pronounce I'll. But yeah.
In your mind, do you think you were saying the middle I? Does that make sense?
Well, to be honest, when you mentioned it, you said, "Oh, there's three sounds," but I had never actually thought about that.
Right.
Yeah. So, Yeah, it's not really something I think about. I think maybe if I was speaking more formally in some situation, I might prefer to pronounce it like the longer way. But in general, it's not really something that I think about. I'm not really conscious of it. It just happens. Yeah.
Interesting, because I think it's gonna make my life a little bit easier because I had a bit of a bad habit of always trying to pronounce everything as clearly as possible, which is a good thing, but at the same time might make my English sound a little bit awkwardly very clear, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And also the uncontracted form, I will. When do you use this uncontracted form in a conversation? I will do that. I will. Why do you have to contract them?
I actually think these days it's very, very rare in conversation. In written form, you'll see it a lot, of course. But I think when we're speaking, we'll often contract. We'll often contract it. And I think it's only in very formal situations where you're forced to use the future tense for some reason. But yeah, it's not really very common that we say, "Oh, I will do it later," or "I will do it this afternoon." I think even in some formal situations, I think it's still okay to contract, and it's not that strange. It's not really rude. I don't think so. Anyway.
はい。ということで、この I'll なんですけれども、やっぱりネイティブの先生は I'll っていう風に早く言うときは言うっていう風に言ってましたね。で、この先生も言ってたんですけれども、地域とかによって違うかもしれないっていう風に言ってたんで、私もちょっとね、ネットで調べてみたんですけれども、すると、ネイティブ同士がね、ディスカッションしてるフォーラムで、いや、私は I'll を I'llっていう風に言うよって言ってる人、他のね、アメリカ人の人とかでもいましたので、おそらく結構いろんな幅広い地域でこの発音は採用されてるんじゃないかなと思いました。ただですね、必ずしも、これで言うっていうわけではないみたいです。はい。ということで、今回はこの I'll の発音の謎についてちょっと Cambly を使って話してみました。皆さんもですね、こういうネイティブが知っているような質問とかね、ネイティブだからこそ答えられるような質問ですね、があれば、ぜひぜひオンライン英会話の Cambly とかを使ってですね、いろいろと解き明かしてみると面白いんじゃないかなと思います。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。バイバイ。